What's good, my loves? This is Shannon, and this is another episode of 10-Minute Teas. This time we are working with Affinity, so you all will be happy to know that I am doing a lot more Affinity templates and tutorials. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I did want to break down this graphic for you. It has a mask, and what it does is it makes the background layer black and white. So we'll show you first how to change out these images. So what we have going on here is an image that you can, if you're on the selection tool or the move tool, you can replace this image. So it's not like Photoshop. I know if you've been watching the Photoshop tutorials, we have smart objects, but this is the closest we can get to it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So for the front image, let's replace that image. And I'm going to look for, let me see if I can find just a replacement image. So let's say we're just going to change out, I want to change out the graduate here. Let me go ahead and take off that change there, bring her back in. So all I did was I replaced the image, and what was previously there, it exchanged for the photo that I just dropped in. And as you can see, it has some of the image cut off down here, but I'm going to show you what to do with that. So let's do not Control T, because this is in Photoshop, but I just selected the image so I can resize it. As a matter of fact, let's not resize it just yet, because I want to show you all something. If you brought that in and then you immediately go ahead and bring the background image in. So right now the background image has the gentleman. We can do the same steps, go to replace image there, and this time I have two images saved the exact same size, but one is with the background, one is without the background. So we're going to bring our graduate in with the background, and this is just assuming that the background that you have on here is something that you actually really want. If you want to see what the background looks like, it is literally just like a typical photography background. And let's turn off some of these layers so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And what this particular filter did here was it gave it a grungy mask, it made it black and white, and then what it also has is some options to throw a little color on top of it here. That's like your little fade in from the top and bottom, and then also gives you an option to throw a logo in there, and that logo is also something that we can replace the image for. So let's do that. Let's replace the image, and we'll grab our War Eagles logo, because that's her logo for her school. And all of a sudden we have a whole new design. And I want you all to get used to the fact that logos don't have to be like directly seen. They can be more of an accent, which is what I did for the other one. And also, if you're using it as an accent, you're covering enough of the logo to where you're not infringing. So, you know, if it was a logo that was for a university or something like that, then just use it big enough and distort it enough to where that logo is not recognizable, and you still have the element of it in there. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to take this layer and I will drag it above my logo layer just so I get my colors on top of that. And then this is what I wanted to show you. So let's say our image stopped a little short and I want to continue either some color down or fade that off. You know how I feel about those hard edges. We can definitely manipulate that. On this layer we can create a new pixel layer or add a pixel layer. That's what that checkerboard image is there. And then you can like paint a little bit on here. So she has the yellow. We can grab the paintbrush. We can use our eyedropper to hover over the existing yellow, drop it, and then of course we have to click it to select it. And right now my brush is huge. I'm going to bring that brush size down. And then I'll bring it back up. I want a little bit bigger than that. And I click off over here to the side just so I can see how big it's really going to be. So I can start painting make sure that this is above my photo. And then the other thing is, it's not showing right now because I need to also take the same layer. Let's duplicate it. And I'm going to drag it up into actual photo layer here. Oh, I think I didn't drop it when I wanted to. So let's drag it there. It's going to be within our mask. So the mask is still cutting it off there. And the image itself is cutting it off too. So let me go on top of that a little bit. Bring that down just a tad. And I'm going to bring my mask up for a second because that's not what I want to do. It did the same thing though. The mask just applied to the pixel layer that I just created. I just want to give you all an idea that if you wanted your image to look continuous, you have some options. So I'm going to take my mask and I'm just going to move it for right now. Just moved it to a different layer. And I think it moved everything. I just want to move the mask. Little mask. Make sure you have it selected by itself. And I just added it to the Innate Lab logo just for right now, just to move it. So on the pixel layer, I want it kind of added to what I currently have selected. And then I can also add a layer mask, and I'm going to choose to be on my layer mask, and let's choose black as my paint color. And I'm going to paint away some of this. And all I'm doing is just making like a continuation of this image. The image got cut off pretty short. This is just one of those problems that I didn't intend on showing you in the template, but it does help you. So let's do, now I can merge these two images. Right click and let me make a group first. Group those, and then now that they're grouped, I may not even have to merge them. Let's see if I can just grab my mask, grab it back. Yep. That's what I can do. That way you don't have to merge it if you don't want to. But now you see that my pixel layer is also a part of the image, and it works with the grid. And that's that. I want to say that's it. And I showed you some extra tips. Let's see. We got the black and white background. Like I said, you can choose or not choose to put this color layer on here, but this is done, guys. That's it. Now, what I would also recommend is that you take the pixel layer that we just created. If you didn't create a pixel layer because you didn't need to, don't worry about that. But the idea here is to grab the background image and the foreground image, not necessarily the mask. Background image and foreground image, and we need those to be linked. And let me see how I can link these in this program. There's definitely a way to link them in Photoshop. Don't want to group them. How do I link them? Layer effects, adjustments. I don't see a link option here. I'm sure there's a way to link them though. Well, since I don't see that option, I'm not gonna tell you something I don't know, but I will definitely look that up. In Photoshop, what I like to do is, even if I'm going to move around the foreground and background, which technically if I move them around now, I have both selected. So as you can see, the background of the original image and the foreground of the original image are moving all as one piece, only because I have them multi-selected here. I held down the control key and selected each of those. So let me turn that off so you can see. I wanted you to see that in the background image there, it does make everything black and white, and that's how the image looks. So you might even end up playing with that. But definitely I'm bringing that back so you can see that. And let's bring the logo back as well. So that's that template change. I'm going to see what I can do about linking these. I'm positive there's a way to link layers. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it's even called linking layers, but let's see. Nope. So we'll find a way to link those layers, and I'll probably look up a tutorial myself and come back and tell you all. But in the process of doing this template, we learned a couple of extra steps. We're going to, of course, you'll be able to bring in your images, but we also learned if we want to extend a picture, just paint the color, continue it out, and then that way when you do your clipping mask or your cropping, it kind of gives you a little more space. You can turn a square image into a vertical portrait and or landscape and still be able to modify that image without it looking weird and crunched up. All right, so that's it, guys. I didn't think this one would be that easy. So if you have any questions, make sure you comment under the video. Definitely make sure that you subscribe so you see the new content coming out. If you are a part of the Innate Creatives Facebook group, then I will often ask for photos, and if you happen to submit a photo and that is something that I use for a template or a tutorial, even if I don't use it in the template, if I just use it as part of the tutorial, then in that case you happen to get a free version of the template. You just have to let me know whether it's Photoshop or Affinity that you're working in, and I can help you with that. Now if you're working in any other program, at this point in time I'm not really working in other programs, but we can certainly talk about ways that you can implement a lot of these same effects using other programs, and that might be by use of the PNGs or some of the elements that I use as brushes. I also sell as PNGs, so you can create a lot of these effects with that as well. So just letting you guys know what's going on here. Ooh, I see something that I don't like. What's that hard line, and where is it coming from? Let me see. Oh, I think what that is her original image that's in the background. It's cut off. So another thing we can do, hey, you're learning something else as I was getting ready to close. Let's go ahead and do a layer mask on that, and you know how I feel. And we could have done the same thing here. If we would have taken this pixel layer off, we could have faded off the bottom, but the picture ended so short that I felt like it would cut it off and it would make it look even shorter and not look its best. So we extended the image there, but here up top we have a little space, so we're going to do a paintbrush tool on our layer mask, and of course black is going to conceal. So I'm coming in here with my soft brush and I'm softening that edge of that photo up, and bam, it looks better already. So that was another tip too. I hope you all enjoy this content. If you have any input, let me know what you'd like to see next, because basically you drive my content. So there are ways to have your file specifically done if you want to do a one-on-one session with me. It is on the innatelab.com/DIY. You can choose to do a session and choose how many hours you need to do. We can also do that session live, and then you get whatever template that we worked on. I usually clean it up and send it to you for free, just for being a live subject. So you guys, this was my pleasure today, and I will be checking in with you soon. Love you guys. Bye.